destiny, somebody you're supposed to be. Far from this small town, there's answers waiting to be found. So she lies awake, thinking there's been some mistake, crying her eyes out, begging for help. She's shouting, I want a new brain, I want a new heart. I'm sick of feeling, failing and falling apart.
Rise in mind.
Got to take control. Gotta take control. You know that song, man? It's so good.
I don't, but I do now. That's awesome.
It's like too cold to hold. They call the Ghostbusters in control. Oh yeah, dude. It's awesome. I was just vibing out to it.
They're in control.
Too cold to handle. Too cold. No, I don't know.
Too cold to handle. Too cold to go.
Too cold to handle. I'm fucking froze. I don't know what it says.
Nice. We are breaking ground, everybody.
Yeah. All right. This is where we get into today's subject.
Crouch.
What are we talking about today, sir?
We're talking about how my camera keeps messing up.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me fix that real quick. It's
You're
gonna bother
there.
me.
You're back.
Okay, there we go. Nice. All right, I fixed it. So today's subject is there isn't one term for it in the English language. I couldn't find any in any other language. But humans have this weird need, like even if you live in an absolutely beautiful area, you still have this like I need to change my perspective. I need to change where I am in my setting, and you end up going on our friends across the pond call it going on a holiday. We call it a vacation. My SO and I went camping, and that it created an interesting perspective on it because I didn't actually get rest and relaxation. I didn't actually get what you sort of seek. And we're going to be talking about the why, like why we do it. What part of our lives are we actually trying to avoid and run from or recuperate? Like, why aren't we working harder to create a home where we don't need that? Instead, we work hard to make money so we can go buy a vacation.
You bring up a really good point.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from Maine. Maine is actually called Vacation Land, and I live in Vacation Land.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
I should never leave. It used to be like, as far as the United States go, like top 3 like places that people would come. You know, it's sought after. We have so much coastline and rocky, you know, hiking and lighthouses and all that. You know, we're a little cheaper than things. You can get housing and like stuff cheaper generally up here. So like if you're living in like Boston or something and you want to have a camp, it's like, hey, let's go spend less money, you know? So that's kind of cool. But me, I live in Vacation Land, but my favorite place to go is down where you are in New Hampshire. That shithole is like fucking might as well be utopia. I mean, fucking New Hampshire. What?
New Hampshire's gorgeous. Like we were.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
When Lord of the Rings was being filmed, New Hampshire was one of the.
Listen to this bullshit.
If New Zealand wasn't gonna work, they were gonna do New Hampshire. But New Hampshire posed like so many problems with like editing out like power lines and editing out like landscapes and stuff that New Zealand actually ended up being cheaper budget wise. It's cheaper to fly the entire crew and all the equipment to another country than to edit out all the bullshit that Americans put along our roads and in the wilderness.
Well, I thought it was just because like most of them were already over there too, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of them already lived over there, and
like Peter Jackson's from there.
There were a lot of
Hugo
places
Weaving,
that were trying to. There's a lot of places that were trying to do exactly that, though. They were trying to do like they're trying to get the production to come. To us.
You know why they do that, right? It's
a huge because it's a boom.
Huge, yeah, it's huge boom.
Yeah.
Like we just got I say we because I do some volunteer work for the city, but we just got the Ironman decathlon to sign on to the city that I do some work
That's
in.
cool.
And it's nuts because, and this is before like kind of the prices have gone up. They estimated that when that comes in for a weekend, it brings in $10 million worth of revenue for the city. It's mainly going to be hotels, unfortunately, but like 10% of that goes to restaurants and shops. So the people who run businesses are huge benefactors. The only trouble is it screws up the normal flow of things for everybody else. Like you're shooting a movie and you're shutting stuff down, and people probably commuting or whatever. So it can be, depending on your perspective, it's going to be good or bad, like anything.
Right.
But no, New Hampshire's beautiful, and that's funny that they wanted to shoot Lord of the Rings here. That's where the Dreamers Arcade kind of is based in the mountains of Mount Washington.
I think I actually said that backwards. I think New Hampshire wanted Lord of the Rings to film here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Did I say it backwards?
No, well, you said it how I said it the first time, but I said it wrong the first time. I think it's New Hampshire wanted Weta Softworks and Peter Jackson to film here to help us with, our economy and stuff. But the reason being is our scenery, right? So we have like amazing scenery, just like Maine, beautiful, right? That's part of why New Hampshire and Maine are playgrounds for Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Vermont is also kind of used as a playground.
I'm not calling you out, dude. But
no, here, this guy,
true.
there's a guy who actually put this very well. I'm going to credit him, but we're going to listen to this video.
Okay.
This guy is just hilarious.
New England is that, like, right? Like in New England, I'm from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so, like, Massachusetts is the main character in the story, right? But like New England's like a family, like, but Massachusetts is the dad, right? Massachusetts the dad, and Boston is the mother.
I can't hear anything.
Everybody knows
but...
dad, but
it's coming through
like
computer audio.
Goes. You know what I mean? Like we listen to
the
mom,
stream.
like dad's the main guy, and then you got your little brother, which is Rhode Island. That's junior varsity. You know what I mean? Mom and dad love him. He can't do anything wrong, no matter what. He's always the favorite, no matter what. We love him. We go to all the games. We keep trying to give you fucking teams and stuff and all that, but you're not. And then you got New Hampshire, which is like the older brother. It's, everybody loves him, but he can never do anything right because he's kind of disappointing. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, he should be doing better. But, it's weird. But whatever. Then you got Maine, which is like your weird fucking cousin, but you love to visit him. You can't stop visiting him because he's got like ATVs.
This guy's great.
You shoot shit, and there's dead things there, and there's lakes, and it's like the woods, and you get away from the fucking city, and you're like, yeah, fuck it. But you don't want to live there. You just like visiting them a lot. And then you got Vermont, which is like your weird fucking uncle. You know what I mean? He smokes a lot. He smokes a lot of the lettuce. And he's got a lot of liberal thoughts, and you're like, what the fuck is this dude? But, he's up there, and you're like, oh. See, you know what's funny about growing up in New England is that, like, right? Like, in New England, I'm from Massachusetts, so, like, Massachusetts is the main character in the story, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much that.
That was funny. It's so accurate. Like, I don't know so much. I mean, like, the Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire felt so right to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it did feel like an accurate representation. Okay.
And Maine's crazy because it's like they got 8 TVs and like we're looking around like the Dreamers Arcade. It's that's a little too on the nose. And then like my dad and like the neighbors, they're all shooting guns all the time. You always hear like Sunday shooting ranges.
So
going
all the credits are right there. If you guys are here on Twitch, that's where you can get the credit for, find him if you want to follow him specifically. We're going to go in the Rise and Mind links on the Space Viking Discord as well. We're going to be working on a Rise and Mind Discord soon, but we're thinking that's going to be sort of more of a closed system.
Special secret club.
Not a secret. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. You just have to pay to get into it. It's exclusive.
It's because we got to manage it. We get it like the amount of time and effort we have to put into managing all this stuff. Like we're gonna It's just we can't do these things for free constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already doing so much stuff for free. You can go ahead and follow me over on Twitch at SpaceViking42. That Discord is open to anybody.
He's shouting out his own shit. We're supposed to be no self promotion, asshole. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
EP sketch of Dreamers Arcade.
No. I'm not gonna be tacky like that. I don't pull myself up by my own bootstraps.
Come off it.
I don't need to beg. I don't need to be out there begging. No one ever gave me shit.
I think
Boomer
you know.
style.
I think you know this, but just for our listeners.
Mm-hmm. What?
So, pull yourself up by your bootstraps was originally used to refer to a task that's impossible.
Really?
It's believed to come from the German author Rudolf Erich Rasp, who wrote about a character who pulled himself out of a swamp by pulling his own hair.
What?
Imagine trying to lift yourself up, but you're lifting you. You're not actually lifting.
There's gonna be a problem here.
Right. Pulling your hair up.
I have to like skull it, dude. Maybe I could do this. Rip me out. You could do it, dude. You could probably get your hair up over a branch. Maybe you had long hair.
Like when you break apart the actual phrase, it's that's what they meant by it.
Really? That's pretty cool. It's
The
really gotten
because
debased over time.
if you take your
Right?
bootstraps and you try to actually pick yourself up by them, you can't because you're all the force is going to the straps and not actually lifting you up. So it's supposed to refer to something ridiculous, like beating a dead horse, or like hitting your head against a wall. Like it's the same phrase as that. It's supposed to mean that's impossible. You need to stop pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and actually put your efforts into something that's going to actually work for you. And that's what we do here on Rise in Mind.
That's funny. So people say that wrong all the time.
They don't mean it's become politicized. That's why it's become wrong.
Yeah, that's not right at all, guys. It's like when someone's like, you're not doing well, say whatever, you're down on the bottom here of the mine and they're up looking down the hole like, come on, man, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get up here. And then it's like, no, that's impossible. I'm so fucking poor and I have no resources. I can't build a ladder, dude. I'd have to climb up with my hands like Batman out of the Oh, I don't know. Batman pulled himself up by the bootstraps, so but he was a billionaire or whatever. No. So hey, Damaris, what's up?
Yep, Damaris in the chat here. Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
We're talking about phrases that don't make sense that people like to use.
Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is bullshit strap.
It's originally meant as a phrase to describe something that's impossible. It's like I feel like back when the phrase was first starting use. Sorry, excuse me. Wow, 1 second. Blah blah.
That was awesome.
Blah blah. But
words.
We got pull yourself up by your bootstraps was originally like to say that what that person is doing is impossible and they're wasting their energy.
But did the German guy get out? Because the example he said, the German guy was in quicksand or a swamp or something. He pulled himself up by his own hair which is impossible.
Yeah. Did he get out? I don't know. The quick search doesn't have the full story.
But that was some probably like ego bullshit where it was like, how'd you get out of that swamp? It was like,
okay.
Pulled myself up by my own hair. Really like a branch fell or something, or some guy came along. It's like, dude, need help.
So in the 19th century, the expression was mostly used to refer to impossible tasks. Here's an example from Bryant and Stratton's Counting House Bookkeeping in 1863. The person competent to construct a system of philosophy on such a basis would be able to show how a man might lift himself by his own bootstraps or get rich by taking money from one pocket and putting it into the other. That's where it got stolen. That's where it got taken from like the idea. So people understood
Yeah.
the expression as pulling yourself up by your bootstraps to mean attempting to do something absurd until the 1920s, at which point it started to evolve toward the current understanding to do something without any outside help. Like the current,
Wow.
like because of culture, the current usage isn't wrong necessarily, but the concept, I like this concept better of like you're doing something absurd. Like I feel like a person should be able to help themselves without outside help, but in many ways, many of the ways that people do that, they're trying a method that's completely absurd and they're not going to actually be able to do it. So I wish we'd go
You know-
back to this phrase, you know, of this version of it.
I think I can kind of surmise in my own head where the confusion might have been too, because it seems like kind of a jerk insult. Like probably people saw some guy trying to do something and it'd be like, look at this asshole over here trying to pull himself up by his bootstraps. You know, so it was like it had a negative thing, and then people would be like, a guy trying to pull himself up by his bootstraps over here, you know, so it wasn't ever. So that's like now people use it in a way that's not nice, where it's like, get your shit together, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
It's
But
fucked
that
up.
doesn't get your shit. That doesn't get your shit together, right?
My boots are
It's
fucked
impossible. Yeah, my boots don't fucking fly, dude. I'm not Icarus, and you know what happened to him? He flew close to the sun, dude. Get up there. Why don't you go fucking pull yourself up by your bootstraps so fucking high that you go into the goddamn sun?
up. Oh my
asshole.
goodness, yeah.
See? There you go. There's your counter when someone's fucking with you. Don't do it on Facebook either. Fuck that petty pig pen.
We've gone fully into the absurdity of that.
Rise in Mind not on Facebook, by the way.
We're not going to be on Facebook.
Never. We're done. Get off of it.
Find us
You
on
want
Instagram or don't find us.
You want the real stuff? You find us on Reels. That's right. Even though Facebook owns it, I just don't want that world of cowards hiding behind screens that don't do anything, and they're just like, you need to do this. No, fucking, I'm doing stuff. You need to come help.
You need the stuff to happen.
You need
outside
to
of your
fucking
life.
help. Get off your ass. Get off in front of that screen time. What's your screen time for the week, loser?
You know what
Fucking forever?
You know what my screen time for the week is?
What?
I'm at 43 hours.
Yeah, you're fucked up, dude. That's bad. No,
Because
you've been editing videos. And
I've been editing video. I actually had I think that's where my face in the carpet feeling actually happened. Was I was editing and it was encoding, and I got up from the chair and my brain was like buzzing from all the like screens and like thinking that I like just went on the ground and like. Meh. But it wasn't just the editing. It was just the amount of screens, because I go from work, which is all screens, and then like I'll take a break at work and I'll go on my phone as a break, and then I'll come home and be like, oh, I need to relax, so I'll play a video game, which is also a screen.
Then you'll have your Discord up while you're doing that, like doubling down multiples. Yeah, you're.
It's brutal. So that's a form of vacationing, but it also it's another perspective of it doesn't help. It doesn't actually help. All the screen time isn't actually helping. Like it's sold as a relaxation thing, but it's actually making my life worse.
Yeah, it can, like anything, the amount of how much you consume it. Like if you were, it depends on your values too. Like you have to always say, Inky, oh, and Damaris, yeah, you gotta have a ghost account or something, or I use my wife's, just keep someone and have them
have a burner phone, doing some shady shit here. Gonna have a second account for everything. Having the Rise in Mind account actually felt like a little sketchy at first, because like now I have multiple accounts to do things with. Although the Rise in Mind account isn't going to be.
You better not. I better not go on that Instagram and just find booty shaking videos all up in your suggested, because that's CP sketches.
No,
that's not Rise in Mind.
Instagram knows what it's doing, you guys. Instagram knows.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is you like one video of booty shaking, and then suddenly you'll get like 20 of them, and it's like I just liked one. I liked the pattern of her pants.
there's I like that outfit. She had a good choreography. Yeah. It was totally on the legit. Anyway. Yeah. That's because there's so much of it.
Basically,
Like,
it's really easy for social media to market to straight white males.
But no,
it knows exactly what you want.
Ass. Bro, it's because there's so much ass behind that door. So here we go. Here's the door. Here's a visual representation.
You mean the algorithm has the content to give you?
Hey, look, I turned blue because of the reflection.
You did.
It killed the intensity.
We got some color theory there.
We got the color theory. Check it out. You go to open the door. I was like, maybe I want to look in a little bit on this. Look behind here, see if there's any ass. You crack it a little bit. Boom! There's so much ass behind that door. It's like the Hoover Dam. Boom! Oh shit! Up in your face. And now it's just here to stay. It's the room, dude. You look up like science and shit. They're like, could not find results.
I have a weird mix now because of that like string of algorithm breaking that I did. Now I have I have philosophy and science and gaming and technology and then just booty. Like it's all mixed together. And I'm like, I'm okay with this. But how did my algorithm get so like skewed? You know?
I'm being very considerate on the Rise in Mind side to not click on anything that even looks like booty, even if it's like an animal or pants.
That's why I was so worried. That's why I was so worried when you started following people. I was like, no, don't get the algorithm thinking anything. I don't want anything on there. Don't follow anybody.
Yeah, no, the intent, I try to guide, this is my CP's advice corner over here. I try to have intention and understand when I'm doing a specific project, we'll call Rise in Mind a project. What is the intention other than philosophy and bonding and doing art and friendship and just different things like that? Yeah. What's really in helping other people? So those are some kind of key things. So I'm, looking at booty on Rise of Mind, it's kind of counterproductive. So I'm like, well, what do we're like mid-century. We like 70s sci-fi. How about you like Jeeps a lot? And then I was like, how about mining?
We followed some Jeeps.
Dude, Mining Mayhem is hilarious. I love that. Like
that was a pretty funny place, yeah.
There's like an excavator in a swamp, and it's like, keep digging, you'll get out soon.
Yeah, that was good.
Like,
so
that's like pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the guy's trying to explain. The guy's trying to explain to the other guy. Hold on, we can actually bring this up. We just might have to explain it a bit for the audio version. But the guy's trying to explain like some really like sciencey shit to him. Like, that's us, dude. like that's me in the hole. That's me in the hole being like, that's how gravity works.
and in the video, he's in a little mine, little trench, and he's got his shirt pulled up over his belly. It's pretty funny. And he's got a hard hat on. So yeah,
let me set this up for people here.
I'll set the scene.
Yeah.
There's a guy in a trench, and he's yelling at, I think, 2 coworkers, one on each side, just ranting out, like, this isn't going to work, basically. Yeah. And he's got his belly up. He's got a nice tan. He's been probably flashing that belly all year.
Oh, yeah.
And imagine his man chest there, like, white as all heck, right? But
all heck.
He looks like, he takes his shirt off, he's wearing a halter top.
Mm-hmm. We're technically still in the intro because we broke ground for like a second, but I still want to share this video with you guys.
Yeah.
Go to the share screen. We're gonna have double CP here for a second because my share screen is still
double CP. Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining us, and you can find us on Instagram. And what were you saying?
I just got an idea.
Uh-oh, this is dangerous. Matt's got an idea.
Hey, don't let me have an idea.
I can see your screen.
You can see my screen?
Be careful. You've had issues with that, I've heard.
I have not. Well, no. Okay, so last night on the Baldur's Gate 3 stream, there was a softcore porn scene in the game, and I'm like, am I breaking TOS? Like, I had the nudity turned off at least. But they still I feel like the people who created the game we're very smart about how they how they're gonna do it, like how they're gonna let people stream their game and still have their sex scenes, right?
Oh, like they consider that it's going to be broadcasted and there's
Yeah.
TOS and they want to, so they don't use sex or even stuff. Copyright music's an issue, like in games, so they should
Right.
probably move away from that and just go back to just digital, like MIDI loops or some shit. Like, I mean, we don't need to be listening to like I don't know, what the fuck do they play? I don't know. I don't have an example.
CP Sketch is the one here.
If you turn off nudity, it's more explicit.
All right, here's the video, you guys.
What?
Here it is.
Because of gravity pulls it out. You dig a hole in the center of the earth, no matter how deep you go, it's gonna fall. Gravitational pull. You think that fucking tree wouldn't be in the ground and just floating around if we were out here with no gravitational pull?
How the fuck does gravity explain the earth is flat?
It don't. The earth ain't flat. A fucking solar eclipse, you look at your goddamn moon, it's got a fucking circle in it and not a flat line. You damn ignorant motherfucker, I'm telling you.
Yep, that's like I just saw like
Pull the fucking rock out of the
alternate universe version of
Because
us.
gravity pulls it out. You dig a hole in the
See,
center of the
I love
earth,
his
no matter
belly
how deep
out,
you go,
and then he gets so
it's
mad, it like falls down.
Right.
Look, he was doing a demonstration too.
Mhm.
Like he was like, sure. You know what he was doing? I think his friend was trying to argue that the earth is flat. I think he was trying to say that the earth's flat, and because he's like, how can it be flat? Because he's like and then you see the eclipse and it's circular,
Yeah,
and he talks about
he was
gravity.
basically he was like someone who this is my favorite thing about that video. Actually, I'm glad you touched on that, because my favorite thing about that video is that construction workers are seen as not intelligent normally. Like that's sort of like that's the stereotype. But he figured out that the earth is a sphere like so easily. He's like, why do you think the eclipse shows a circle and not a flat line? And then I think he says, you motherfucker, like right after that.
I love it. He uses the language, man, because that's what you have to do. Like, I've worked in construction, and it's small. It's generally the fights that I'm having with my father. Like we work together. One day, sorry, Dad.
Okay.
He was a bit on Trump's dick one day.
Yeah.
And whatever. I don't care what you believe in, people.
Stop
Rise
this.
of mine. We're trying to not get super political, but I wasn't a fan of what he was saying. I was like, I ended up, and I never do this, dude. I was just like, I was getting mad. I was like, fuck you, dude. I like smacked him in the chest. He's like, don't you hit me, I'll fuck you. I was like, fucking, let's go, dude. And I was, fuck the truck, man, I'm fucking out. And I just like took off and walked away, and I got a call my wife and picked it up.
Good job walking away.
Well, come to find out, there's a lot of kind of anger and mania in my family, and both Dad and I are so similar, and we don't always like. He now kind of sees the light of it. He's like, yeah, that was shit, like, because like he gets really seduced by things, and if there's a few people around him, he's a people pleaser, so he doesn't want everybody to be like, yeah, I'm cool with everything, but then he's trying to neutralize, and I'm just like, nah, I don't like this shit, man. I don't like the celebrity asshole running stuff. And then now we can kind of see like, oh yeah, that was kind of a joke. And it's like, yeah, and it's yeah, of course it was, dude. Of course it was, brother. Little Hogan for you. But yeah, so today,
yeah, we're gonna break ground again here.
Wait. If you didn't know, if you're 1 hour into the podcast, because we've been talking about, well, we were just talking about some completely tangential shit that we can probably, what were we just talking about for like 10-15 minutes that has nothing to do with vacation and like getting away.
Well, we were talking about screen time. Sort of went into it a little bit. Like we stay in the we stay within a Venn diagram of our subject normally. I noticed. I've been doing like some editing, but like it all sort of is in a frame of ADHD. There's
Yeah, that's
definitely
true.
the biggest circle that we stay in our Venn diagram is probably ADHD because it always sort of feeds back into it like, why is our shit fucked up? Oh, probably the ADHD. So, like, yeah, we were trying to get into some camping. Do you mind if I go into the breaking ground again?
Yeah. We're still here, buddy.
Yeah, we got it. Okay, take two.
We should be well into the deep dive 1 hour. But we took a 36-minute intro, and we're still in breaking ground.
We got it.
It's gonna be a day. And
We're here.
It'll be an enjoyable podcast. So
We
regardless,
are.
probably more fun than normal.
We're in it. So breaking ground,
In it.
everybody.
Yeah, in it, dude.
Isn't it? Yeah, we got to move this down too. I'm always adjusting everything. Here we go. So why
Shout
do we?
Blazing Tree Terrain right here.
Yeah.
In it, emo in
Nice.
the chat.
Isn't it? So we have our little robot now too. Greeting. So this actually has you have a little badge now, Dreamer. Do you see that? In Twitch there.
Oh, yeah, I
You
got
see
like
the-
what is
that's
that, like a snake dick?
No, hover over it. It does look like a snake dick, doesn't it?
Snake dick.
No,
Artist.
yeah.
Moderator.
He's- yeah,
Artist. Cool.
yeah. So you actually have a lot of power here in the stream. If like someone's like being stupid, you can just ban them. you have all those powers. I made you an editor even, so
That might be really good content because as much as I want to be the sweet, nice guy that I try to be,
mhm.
I come from a real toxic place where everybody was
Yeah.
chewing each other apart, and when you fuck up, you would hear about it. So
Mhm.
come on into the Rise and Mind chat, and maybe I'll create some side content clips of CP shut shit down. CP gives the fucking shovel to some stupid fuck.
That'd be fun to actually have a compilation of like what you say when you're banning people.
Oh, it'd be so cathartic, dude.
That's some future thinking though. All right, you ready to break the ground here?
If they come in right now, dude, come on, roll the dice.
I gotta stop
Troll!
giving your brain ammo until I can jump off of.
You gotta start giving it dopamine, dude. When you start talking about trolls coming in when I'm in a good mood, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna fucking get them. CP, chewing you up from the sideline. Okay, see,
So when you
I'm performative. I can't help it.
we're talking about sort of like the human need to like say even if you live in a nice area, you still have this like need to like want to change your perspective or your scenery, like get sort of a change of scenery to sort of jumpstart your brain and get yourself back into a healthy state of mind, and this idea of vacationing. And I want to get. I think we were about to sort of like launch off on this subject because I had triggered something in your mind, CP, when I said that why don't we create that in our lives? Why don't we create that in our lives so that we don't have to pay money to buy it in another place?
Yeah.
Instead, what we're doing is spending 40 hours a week at our jobs to spend money so that we end up having to spend that money to get the feeling that we could have all week at home. But instead we chose to live in a gray box and work in a gray box. So now we have to travel a couple hundred miles to someone else's state and scream and yell and play music in a camper. And then make it so that my significant other's son can't get to sleep.
Yeah, I heard you had some good neighbors on your camping trip. Like,
It's like,
yeah, all right.
Don't
Throw it
go-
in the fire.
don't
Wait,
go-
but you can't. Spin it in the fire.
don't go camping on Labor Day, guys.
No, that's the thing.
That's
Like,
so stupid. I don't know why we chose that
CP,
day.
CP's vacation. This is how I vacate. I live in a world that looks like I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Just me walking around New York City all by myself, talking to mannequins and shit. That's what I'm the most happy doing. So when people are like, hey, CP, you want to go see a movie this weekend? I'm like, how about Tuesday at 1?
I actually would love that.
Yeah, you go
The
go
daytime.
like Christmas shopping, and you got to do IRL stuff. Hey, a record blizzard. It's night. Let's go out. Stores will be open another hour, and let's hit everything. Like I figured out a way. My dad did this a lot, so he figured out a way to avoid shit like that, and going out on the weekend, going to popular places, going out during holidays. Like I like vending on those days because I hope people come out and buy stuff for me because they're out. I know they are, so it's a higher chance that I'm gonna probably get a little bit of money, and not always, but hey, you try it out, and it's the gamble. But but going out to a public place and camping and things like that, I'd be a little sus. But then again, I'm going to Salem at the beginning of October, and that's gonna be probably pretty packed.
Yeah, that's I tend to avoid Salem. I like to go to Salem at the end of September, where it's like they're starting to open up all those shops and stuff, and like stuff is still going to be like active, but there's going to be a lot less people because people aren't thinking Halloween yet. Like September 28th would probably be when I'd go, or September 18th, around those times.
That's a real generalization. People aren't thinking Halloween. Dude, I've been in Halloween mode since I was born.
Well, yeah, like me too. Like Halloween's my favorite. Like if I were to do something vacation-y, I think I would actually prefer to do a Halloween-based one.
I do most of my stuff in the autumn, fall time. It's hot, humid, and buggy. So hiking this time of year is no. In the summertime. I say this time of year because we've had a record high. It was like 86 degrees the other day, and felt like 96 degrees in September and Maine, and I'm like, all the black flies are coming out and shit, like, and those are supposed to die out by like July. I'm like, what is going on? So it feels a lot like the beginning of summer, but this time of year is beautiful as it cools down. The bugs kind of go away, and you take wonderful walks, Robert Frost style, diverge in the wood, and then maybe you end up in New Hampshire and you give space like in the wood. Pow, pow, pow. Sorry, man. Don't mean to sexually harass you, but he's a good-looking motherfucker.
I've been violated. No, I'm just kidding. Don't come to New Hampshire specifically to violate me. Just come for the mountains and the trees.
I mean, it's a nice bonus. You go to Fun Spot Arcade, and you swing by his house and
give
him the
swing by.
Give him the love.
Here's a funny thing about New Hampshire is we're like a tall state. It's like very like kind of tall and thin. Not compared to Maine, but the way the orientation is that he says take a trip up to Space Vikings house. Like, so if you go to Fun Spot, you're talking like an hour drive to get up to where I am. It's like no, that's not a quick stop. That's you've got to plan that out.
Oh, I just clipped myself in the face. Hey, I want to do something just real quick for our YouTube people. Let me just grab my. Okay.
Hold on.
You heard the troll. So I've got a piece of paper.
Wait, don't.
Are you gonna go? You gonna go big screen?
I am. I don't know if I got you on this one. Hold on. I thought I had both of us for this. I guess I'll just make you big on the other one. That's quicker.
Make me big. Here we go. Here's an art lesson. I mean, not really an art lesson, but see, we got a piece of paper here, right?
Yeah.
And we take a pen. Now, most of the states in the United States look a lot like this.
Yep.
Maybe like this. And now we're getting in some middle. And then like this, right?
Now we see CP is drawing some lines that look like squares on a white screen, on a white piece of paper.
The Lone Star State, gets a little weird, gets a little fucked up. And then Florida.
He's drawn the Lone Star State as a potato chip. And then we have
Florida man.
Florida is a chicken wing.
Yeah, okay. But then, so you have some outliers, right? But then most states are just still, let's just square them up, right?
Some sort of squares that get nestled in, and.
But then Maine is like, all right, let's figure this shit out. Straight line here. Put this like this. Let's go up here. Jagged here. And then we got this part that goes down. And it's like Maine. It's
wait, hold on. Can we get the rest of New England in there?
New England. Well, no, New England. Look, New England.
That's so you just drew how Maine feels, though. That's like when I enter Maine and I'm trying to figure out how big. That's New Hampshire's not a square.
New Hampshire
and Vermont. New Hampshire and Vermont are two chips jammed together.
I can't even think of it right now. No, I'll show you.
So
Maine
for
accurate.
So if you guys want to see this off audio and you're not able to catch the live stream, this drawing will be in the Instagram later today.
So this isn't very good, but Maine's like kind of like this thing.
Oh, okay.
It's weird.
That's a drumstick.
Yeah, well, it has a straight line where we cut through Canada.
Am I hungry?
I don't know. Did you eat? I had the big pig. No,
I haven't eaten yet. No.
Oh, then it comes like this. Oh, then it comes in, I think. Oh, then big. And then there's another. What does my state look like? I don't know. That's a little different. That looks more like a drumstick. That's like elongated Maine. It cuts in over here. Fuck Maine. All right, let's moving on. Moving on.
So what CP is trying to express here, I can't quite remember.
It's another clip for the Instagram.
I guess so, but what we've got is like the shape of the states can be pretty awkward, and Maine is one of those ones where when you enter them. When I enter Maine, like I went for Absol's birthday party, and I didn't realize, I kept thinking, I do this a lot in my life, where I see the task as bigger than it actually is until I do it.
Yeah, I do that.
And then, so like I entered Maine, I went to visit, I'm like, this is only like 2 hours. This is the same as going to Mass. Like, why am I making a fuss about visiting CP and Abso? When it's actually not as far as I thought. That's because I don't know Maine well enough, and I keep thinking that you guys are close to Bangor, when actually you're not even to Portland, right? Like you're close to Portland, but not that close.
No, I'm an hour away, so I'm central. So we're in the central. Bangor is quite far. It's like almost an hour and a half. So you got to add. So it's not like when you do that, because you do the con, BCTC con that's coming up. Check. I don't know if you're doing it this year, but I'll be up there.
I want to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing it. We'll see.
It's tough. Yeah, sometimes you can't do them all, pal.
Then interestingly enough, conventions actually feel like vacations more than this camping was. Like the conventions feel like I'm rejuvenating my creativity. Like I get to go and be creative and talk about my creations for a whole weekend, whereas in the rest of my life I feel stifled.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, you're at work, but you can still draw sometimes, but nope, that phone rings. Nope, you have to shut off your brain, and it's like so stressful sometimes. I'm just thinking the phone's gonna ring any minute now. I gotta get this drawing done. Because I'm gonna get snapped out of the zone. But at the conventions, it's like it's welcome to talk about your creation and have it be part of your world, essentially. So
yeah,
I gotta
it's good to see
take the timer off here because the timer's not accurate anymore. This is why we ran to like almost 4 hours once, because the timer keeps getting reset.
Oh, so it is good too. I do feel like cons are a vacation because you see your friends, but what it's great about it is as we've gotten like older in life, the family gatherings, I don't know for you specifically, but when I was a kid, when you're a kid, everybody's around and there's like so many aunts and uncles and cousins and this and that, and I would go to 2 grandparents' house and it was the big thing. But now it's like I hang out with a couple people, like it's not as big. The families are small. They've been broken up. People have passed, and it's just not the same. But what is amazing about these cons, and especially our artist retreats that we started up, it feels like Thanksgiving again. I feel like, hey, I'm hanging out with my family, and we're all getting together, and we're making meals, and it really feels like something that I wanted that I lost out of life. And the best part is, like, you're not my family. You're like people I really love and respect, not to say that all my family was shit, but a lot of the people that I really liked aren't with us anymore. And, they say that good die young for a reason.
Wow.
There's some old fuckers in my family that wish they died young. Oh, hey. But
He's not holding anything back today, folks.
No, it's cool, man. I think we all can relate to, especially of a certain age. I love a lot of people in my family, despite having hang-ups in the past and whatever. Like my dad and I fought crazy, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We're the same dude who got kind of shit on by, like, it was trickle down shitonomics, right?
Well, that's the one thing that does trickle down. Nothing else does, though.
But much
generational trauma does trickle down. Sorry, go ahead.
But coming back to what you said about conventions and being like vacations, it's cool. You sometimes you stay in hotels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're going somewhere different. It feels like a vacation. But I was kind of sad.
It's actually relaxing.
I was sad this weekend because
what was different about this one?
Me, unfortunately. So here's the crappy thing. You can work so hard sometimes in life, and you can do everything. You can say affirmations. You can be positive. You can get things going in your life. Have good relationships. Sobriety. You can have a nice put together house. You can okay, I don't have that right now. You could volunteer. You could try different religions or philosophies like we do here. But the sad thing is I've checked every box, but I couldn't figure out why am I still falling into depressive states? Why am I still getting angry? And then I realized just recently, oh no, it's in me. It's just an imbalance that I'm predisposed to falling in these depressive states, and we're working on that. And so unfortunately, it hit. Like, the stress of the con can exacerbate it, but there really wasn't a lot of stress, dude. I got to set up a day early on a Friday. I lived 20 minutes from the con. I was driving back and forth. We were set up next to Hexy, like one of our good friends. It was the Freaks and Geeks version of a con, and it seemed like this is perfect. And I didn't make a ton of money, but I made all my money back and made some on top of it. So I'm like, why did I start Monday like you? Like, you just went camping. Like, you should have been rested and rejuvenated.
But I wasn't
should
either.
have been too.
I wasn't either, but I have a theory, and I don't know if it's correct, but it seems to work. It's worked many times in my life, this theory. I brought it with me.
Yeah.
I consciously said, I feel like crap. I don't like this. I don't want to do this. And I never took the time to, like, take a breath or meditate or go to the gym before going camping. Like, you gotta clean house. It's housekeeping. It's your brain. You need to sweep all that shit out and then go on your vacation or go on your camping trip, or go to the con. Cause like there was this guy I worked with, and he was so upset all the time. He was like constantly complaining. Everything was a problem. And he said, I'm moving. And then he moved. He went to, I think, Virginia or something. And lo and behold, he texted me. He said, I still feel like shit. I don't know what's wrong with me. I said, you brought it with you. You can't move. You can't run away from your own mind. Like, you can't change your life without changing your mind first, because it will follow you. It goes everywhere you go. You go everywhere you go. So you gotta fix you first.
Yeah.
You gotta fix you first. And I didn't do that before camping. I was all messed up, and I went camping, and I was still messed up, and I was like, why am I not having a good time? I'm supposed to be relaxed. You know, like, and that just got me thinking about this subject too. Sorry, go ahead.
I have a very dark version of that story. I knew a person who had problems with drinking mainly, and depression and things like that. And she was a wonderful person, a people pleaser, and did everything for everybody. And we all loved her a lot. But she moved. She needed to get away. And then she did come back and visit us, and we saw her. But then she, just shortly after that, M. Dabso, called me crying, because our friend had committed suicide. She moved away, and she isolated herself from that support group that she had, and that was the end. And she's probably about my age now. Now that's really weird to think about it, because she was older. We were all like in our 30s, probably a little bit younger than you. I might actually been your age. Everybody's a few years younger than me. I'm always the old man. And it was wild. And then here we go. On top of that, the person that lived with her for a little while was my friend and my basically little sister, Brittany, who all did the same thing. She got away from her support system. She got down to the last few people in her life, and she was spiraling a lot. And she isolated herself enough and couldn't fight with what was going on in her head, and decided it's too much, dude. And at like 27, because she was a romantic motherfucker, like Jim Morrison, like Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, the 27 Club, they call it.
Yeah.
She joined the 27 Club in her own weird, melancholy, romantic way. And I bring that up, we're coming back around to that. For a breath of fresh air, I found a remake of her favorite Ninja Turtle character, Baxter Stockman, in a Walmart for $10, and it made my day. And I'm doing this is a preview, a repaint of that, and I'm going in and doing all the detail work and doing day fluorescent stuff, and I'm going to have him caught up in a fly tape, because that's very much her life,
Oh, wow.
Baxter Stockman all wound up in a fly tape. And that is something in remembrance to her that I'm hoping is going to be something positive. Like, she would have loved this, because November's coming up, and it's always like in the back of my wife and I's mind, like we miss her a lot this time. And so I'm getting a jump on that, kind of like making your mind space good, where I know it's going to be hard, so I'm not just going to go in raw dog. I'm not just going to go in and be like, all right, here we are in November. I knew it was going to be bad, and now it is bad. I'm coming in with November's going to be hard. It's September, so let's deal with some of this shit before it hits us. And I talk about it with my wife.
Why is November hard?
It's when she committed suicide.
Oh, I see.
So
that's why August is hard for me, actually. I relate to that.
Losing people is, it's always tough. And I'm generally affected by a seasonal depression, and Maine's known for that. We don't get a lot of sun, and you got to take vitamin D and stuff to try to counteract that. It's another thing you can do, like knowing ahead of time and eat and getting better. But my dad was a carpenter, so every year it was like grind to get the money for the winter, and hopefully fuel prices don't go up and we can make it through. And it's tense. So it was always tense, like at this time of year growing up. So Yeah, it's a suck time of year for me, and I had a lot of darkness around it, but I go into it. I
Were you
love
guys
Halloween. So
were you guys using oil heat?
us, yeah, K1, forced air.
Wow.
Yeah,
My uncle did something awesome that's like the overhead to get it started is really rough. This is a completely so tangential, so I'll just make it quick. He built a furnace that's outside, but pipes the heat into the house, but it's all wood. It's
boiler.
it's so much cheaper.
Wood boiler, right?
I don't know
Is
if
that what
it's
you call
I don't
it?
know if it's a boiler. I think it's just straight up the heat from the burning wood, but it's the way the furnace is built that it's really efficient too.
I've thought about that because my one of my friends, his landlord did that. He had
Yeah.
that same rig and it heated 4 apartments.
And that was that's like saved my uncle so much money because of oil prices. And you can get like a cord of wood so easily. But that's
Side
very
tangent.
Yeah.
You know, some of the places, if you're in Maine, there is a place called like Cash Fuel something. It's an app, and like I don't know if it last year they were offering. I don't know if the quality of fuel's good. Trust me, I haven't researched this stuff, and I'm a little wary myself. But it was like 300 for 100 gallons versus like 600 for some of these companies that they were in the heat of the winter. And also Maine, I guess, has done okay with heat pumps.
Yeah.
Like if you can afford a heat pump, they work pretty efficiently. But I did hear on the coldest days, people's heat pumps were like almost dying. So they might have limitations. If we got like a massive cold snap for a week, they might all fucking freeze out.
Right.
We haven't tested that tech. But yeah.
So your sister, sorry, this woman that you knew,
yeah, she was a lot younger than me, so like she was like,
did she
like
try
a little
to?
sister.
My question is, did she also try to run from it? She thought that if she moved, that it would improve, that her life would just like the change of scenery is all she needed, is what she thought. But she brought herself with her and couldn't run from the feeling.
Yeah, she was really trying. I would surmise because she had uprooted from her whole life in Portland, social scene, wasn't like part of that. I honestly don't know because I can't even ask. Like I surmise like she was getting into some bad shit with people. Like she was maybe partying a lot. There might have and it could have been like negative, and then she came up here to kind of almost go to the country and go camping and stayed with her sister and then like hung out with us like all the time. And then we got her involved in the early con culture that we were doing.
Oh yeah.
And then she met our winter house friends, and like we were really getting her involved on this stuff. And I loved her, man. She was like you would have liked her, man. She was like a spaz, dude, like super ADHD, talked like super fast, and like would always talk about like Greek mythology and go on tangents and shit. And she would have been an awesome streamer. I always think about that because she was in it right before we started watching other people and chatting with our friends, and then they got me into it. So in a different world, I could see it working out. And I'm always sad, like I know it was hard, and I know how the feeling of your mental illness feeling like a burden to people around you and your friends and family.
Yeah.
Well, I could for those people in that state of mind, I could have dealt with it. I could have dealt with some crazy shit, and it would have been fine. And but she was thinking she was losing in a lot of ways. She was creating that narrative. She couldn't get out of her head, and she was bringing that bad energy not only into her life, but it was leaching out into other people. And then I've been in that position where it's like, oh, I'm so messed up that I'm hurting other people, and that hurts more than anything. And so I can empathize and understand to a certain degree where it's like, I don't want to be here doing this anymore to these people. I feel worse in myself because I'm now leaching out this darkness into everybody else. And I think that's like kind of like maybe where her mindset was. but it wasn't just a quick thing. It was very premeditated.
Yeah.
She wrote so many letters, like, to all of us. Like, everybody got a letter, and it was like, it wasn't like I just decided, here we go, and it's like, no, I'm gonna sign off. And she was kind enough to do that, and she was just a great person. And it's sad that a lot of your great people, much like both of my friends who ended up that way, they were some of the nicest, most inspiring people. And people have said that about me. Like, oh, you're nice and you do this, and I do it because I know what it feels like to feel low, to feel bad, to not feel included.
That's
and
why
I don't want anyone.
That's why I wanted to start this podcast. That's exactly it. I mean, I didn't want people to feel like they were alone in their musings and their thoughts. And I'm also the same way. Like, I didn't want people to feel low, so I would try to connect with people and be nice to them. I try to be nice to everyone, because I feel like the battles that we fight inside our own minds are the most difficult battles of our lives, and too many people don't talk about it, or they don't talk to someone about it, or anyone. And that's why people end up in that sort of darkness where they feel like they need to run from it. And then they end up, unfortunately, checking out. They say, I'm good, I'm done. And that brings up a whole nother subject. Like, you need the relaxation and the time to contemplate. Like, we do need that whole, like, vacation aspect to our lives. And I think if we don't allow ourselves that room, eventually the brain just says, all right, we're going to take the forever vacation then instead. Mm-hmm. Because you're not letting me rest. So I'm going to make you feel like we should rest forever.
In the vacation,
there's much more to that. Like, I'm not a psychologist. Like, I probably just made it way too simplistic. But that's like how I'm thinking about it in this moment.
Yeah, that's fair, man. Yeah, and I can see that that's thoughtful and it makes sense. And it brings up this idea of, like, we talked about vacation, and it's like, well, what vacation in a physical space? We're going to take a trip to Dubai or something, like one of these kind of, I mean, we're not, because that's some money shit. But if we did, or if we had the means to go anyway, like, what's the vacation really about? Now,
hold on,
going camp. Yeah.
Sorry, there's an audio problem.
Okay.
Say a thing.
Is it on my end?
No, it just seems like my noise gate is off.
Oh, maybe I'm leaning in. I'll get back here.
It was picking it up on the mic as well. Sorry. Yeah, going to Dubai is sort of out of our realm, but
then we're also making it generic.
I did have $100,000 a year kind of job, and I could go to Dubai. I would still bring my shit with me, though. Like, even if I was making a ton of money and going to a really fancy place, I would still feel depressed when I was there. It would have been the same as I was camping in the back of a truck. I was in a truck tent, and like it was loud, and I would have felt the same way if I was alone in a quiet hotel room in Dubai, because I brought my shit with me.
One thing that I'm noticing as I speak, because I think about intention, and maybe you and I are thinking about vacations in a generic sense, right? Where it's like camping on Labor Day weekend. Obviously, a lot of people do that. Going to Dubai. Vacation. Yeah, going to Dubai is like a generic thing, and we don't even have an idea. Well, what do? You just said, like, I'd be sitting around the hotel room. Like, you don't even have the experience in your head. You can understand the hotel room. So it's like, it's not that interesting. But then I started thinking about vacations, and I was like, if I had $100,000 or whatever, extra money to blow in a second, because I think about this all the time, and it's what makes me upset. I go, man, if I had extra money, I'd buy my friend this, or I'd show up to. I said it the other day. I go, man, look at that Jeep. That's cool. If I had the money, I'd buy Matt that Jeep, and I would drive down, and be like, bro, look at your new Jeep, and you'd be freaking the fuck out, and
I
you wouldn't
would.
even not accept it. You know, it's like, but it's like crazy shit like that I'm compelled. I want to get that reaction and excitement out of it. So Vegas has this place. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like a giant grocery store that makes fun of consumerism, and then you go in the back and it's like outer space and it's all run by aliens, and it's like the most cool thing ever. And when I saw that, I was like, I've never wanted to go to Las Vegas, and because I just think of gambling. I think of it in a generic sense as a vacation.
Yeah.
But knowing that it has weird art installations, and then I was like, if me and Viking went to that place and we walked around, it would be the goofiest shit ever. There's no way we'd have a bad time. Like, even with our depressive, there'd be no sad boys in that. We'd be just goofing off and ADD crazy, and it'd be so fun. But that's what it's going to be. It's like, you got to know, we get this idea of vacation. It's like concept vacation, like bucket list. Need to go to Times Square. Well, what the fuck do you want to do in Times Square? I had fun when I went to New York for the first time, because I was like, I've been watching Home Alone 2 my whole life. I'm going to go some of these locations. I'm going to live the movie. And it was my honeymoon. And I'm like, I'm playing like Kevin McAllister on the side, but it was enough on top of that to keep me like engaged in a good mood, because I knew that meant something to me. So knowing what you really are going to get out of it, and being a people pleaser, I'd always be like, yeah, you know, you can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, I wish I would have went to Times Square or Central Park. You know, fucking all about them.
That's what happened to on my camping trip, actually, is that we were so concerned with creating a good experience for my significant other's son and his friend that we didn't have time to even think about, like, why are we doing this? Why are we enjoying this? What's our intention here? What's our
just let him
plan?
Bring his PlayStation. Hey.
Well, they did a no electronics rule, but the no electronics rule does kind of do that to oh man, that's a whole, we could do a whole episode about that, because it was so depressing to watch. He was okay. My significant other's son was fine. Like, Stacy's son was fine. And he made his own fun. He found stuff to do. He found a cool stick. You know, he did kid stuff that you expect. You know, but his friend,
you gotta get a good stick,
yeah,
man.
Yeah,
like,
but
that's where it's at.
But his friend was completely disassociated from even the idea of camping, the idea of what to do. Like, he looked so bored, and every time we'd ask him, are you okay? Are you having a good time? He'd go, yeah, I'm having a good time. But then he was just sitting there, and maybe there was I believe this kid is on the spectrum. I'm not sure I don't know if that's even a proper way to say it anymore, but he definitely is, you know, to a degree. And he said he was having a good time. Maybe he was. Maybe all of his joy and fun was in his mind, which is great if that's the case. But he had it looked like he would have been better off with a screen in front of him. He would have actually been expressive. And my significant other had said that this kid does have a history of, like, basically playing video games all day and not really doing much outside and stuff. So, like, the idea of camping was not necessarily foreign to him, because he's been camping before. But, like, my brain was so preoccupied with that, and realizing that I'm like a 50% screen kid. Like, I grew up with both. Like, I was playing World of Warcraft for 6 hours a day, but I also did paintball fights in the yard. You know, like, I had a lot of outdoor activity and loved it.
I used to play with, you know, stick sword fight with the friends in the woods, but then we'd go and play Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely, you know, have a Game Gear. We didn't have phones, but I had the Game Gear.
Yeah.
So I can relate on that.
I don't know if this is too far off subject of what you were talking about.
I did have a question though, like just interested about that other kid. Do you think too, like because they're young boys too, the way we connect, especially at that age and in school, and like a lot of times you're friends with someone because they're like the kid of a friend in this, or they don't meet so naturally in life, or they're in the same together. But there could have been like a thing too where maybe the way they connect, like they play video games together? I'd imagine that this kid's super screen time.
Yeah.
So then what happens when you disconnect that from a young adolescent? Like, this is why I like you. And now we're in the woods alone together.
Yep.
And like, it might have been really fucked up. Like, it might have been challenging. Like,
I have a friend that it is that. Like him and I.
And I don't know if I like you.
I have a friend like that where, for instance, what you and I do here, he literally cannot.
Yeah.
Any deep conversation, maybe that's a bit too reductive. It's not that he can't, it's that he just doesn't like it.
Yeah, he doesn't find the need or the interest. Like people, my mom hates history, and I'm like, dude, history is like a cheat code, man. You could just like look at other people doing stuff and figure out stuff. And as a creator, it's so important. But like, she doesn't see it like that. She just sees it as like, who gives a shit about these old dead people? And it's like, well, fair enough, Mom. Fair enough. Fuck them. Rot in the ground, Robert Frost. Fuck you, dude. 2 roads diverge in a yellow coffin.
You ready to hit the button on that descending elevator?
Breaking ground.
Going into the deep dive now.
Let us go into the
we've been on the deep fucking tangent dive. We've been going instead of this is today's show. We're going down. Left.
Right. You know why we're doing you know why we're tangenting so much though? I'm starting to realize.
We didn't have it last week.
We have a lot to discuss. Which
I haven't talked to you really since I talked to you on Saturday for a half hour, but we haven't, other than text and sending memes and shit. We haven't chatted really. Busy week.
It has been a busy week.
Well, and it's weird too, because like you were talking about earlier, we don't live that far away, and so because I come to New Hampshire a little more often, I know that. So I'm like, I'm just gonna drive down and do the podcast live. It's like no big deal. And so like we had that.
Can we talk about, like, this is another tangent, but I don't even care. You didn't sleep for like how many days, and then you drove.
No,
early. You had like 3 hours of sleep, right? 3 hours, you said you'd slept. I'm not judging you. I'm actually impressed that you drove that early in the morning.
So this is how mania works. when you get really upset, you get really upset. When you get really happy, you get really happy. And when I am faced with the opportunity, like, you get to drive all by yourself and go take off to New Hampshire, because I don't, it's Em and I a lot, so I don't do a lot of road trip solo, and it was fun. And I left early in the morning, and there was nobody out, and I could see my friend. But that night I did sleep, I think, for safety's sake, because you thank you, because you go, yeah, but you're gonna have to sleep because you gotta drive home later. And I was like, oh, because I stayed up all Thursday. And then I was going in, I don't know why, I was going into Friday, and I was like, maybe I could pull another all-nighter. And no, Matt's right. If I don't sleep, and thank God I did, because after we had that Burger King, I drove home and I was like,
that Burger King was not the best. And I had Burger King again yesterday, but we'll get on that in a second.
I was like, fuck, man. Like, so thankfully I take medication for ADHD, and thank God for Adderall, because it made the drive home a lot more safe, because I was fucking tired as hell. It at least got me like baseline, so I wasn't like squinting through an eye like But I am the guy who thinks that I've got to be the guy, and a lot of people can't be the guy, and when you can't be the guy, I'm the guy, because when we're coming back from a trip and there's 5 of us in the car and we're all falling asleep, I'm the guy, one eye driving. Like, yeah, I'm gonna make it, and everyone's gonna be safe, and everyone's passed out. And funny enough, back to Brittany, the last time we had gone on a trip, she's like, she's so nice, and because I was kind of nodding a little bit, she's like, hey, dude, do you want me to drive? I was like, nah, Brittany, I got it. And then I'm like, all right, fuck it. I am super tired, and I finally was not the guy, and I was like, you can be the guy, because
Oh my goodness! Can I take this moment to just like congratulate you on that? Because like men in this day and age, that takes tremendous amount of courage to not be the guy, to just say,
Thanks.
okay, I'm
But
not
the
the
funny
guy.
thing was,
Okay.
she's like so worried about it that she starts driving. I think we had the Nissan.
Oh,
She's driving this Nissan Versa, packed with people, 5 people in the car, and then she's fucking falling asleep, hitting the rumble strip.
oh,
I'm like, Brittany. She's like, yeah, I'm really tired. I'm like, well, dude, shit, man. Thanks for being the guy, because you know, you saved me for a minute, but I couldn't sleep because I was so scared you were gonna fucking kill me. All right, now my adrenaline's. All right, I'll be the guy again. We got home.
right, but but since that time though, you kind of opened that door. So I'm sure you've had other moments since then that you've been able to not be the guy.
Not a lot, but yeah,
Where's your homework? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, nah, I just gelled and with her enough to where it was like, yeah, we're both, you know, it's one of those things like us, you know, our shit's fucked up. We get it. Yeah. Let's be let's bumble through this bullshit together. So
that
you know, I miss my friend, but
yeah.
you know, there's gonna be plenty of fuck ups like yourself. I mean,
I got stories, yeah. So
sorry.
CP drove
Plenty
out.
of fuck ups like
Yeah, CP drove out to New Hampshire and helped me with something that worked way better than a vacation or a camping trip would. I changed.
Sweet.
I did the thing. I practiced what I preached. Right. So in the beginning of this episode, we talked about how you should probably make your world better before you try to go somewhere else to relax. And moving my desk to the corner where I am now is so much better. I'm so much happier in my day-to-day life that I don't feel like I even need a vacation. So going camping almost felt like I don't want to go camping. I like this. Like that's why camping was another reason why camping was. There's lots of reasons why camping wasn't what it should have been, but that was part of the reason. Was I was like I just made my space better. So I don't even want to. I don't even want to leave now.
I'm sorry, Stacy, but you know, hanging out with CP for the weekend is pretty fucking amazing. I set the bar so high, like we're stopping in lawn sales in the woods, getting like weird mid-century shit and trash cans, talking to dudes all tatted up, like
She
drunk,
didn't.
and, like it was great.
She didn't even want that trash can.
You still have it?
It's gonna be in my workshop instead.
All right, because I was gonna say I'd pay what you paid for that.
Yeah.
And
those Stacy agreed it's a good price, but there wasn't really a place for it in her shop. It wasn't that she didn't want it; it's that just wasn't the function wasn't there. But
yeah, it felt a little. I was wondering that if it felt a little too industrial for like kind of an art shop. Like dudes do that a lot. Like I remember like, dude, right before one of our friends got divorced, the one thing she said, she'd been with her husband since like high school, right. And she's like, look at this sink. Look at this kitchen sink.
Look at this sink
he put together. Look at this kitchen sink faucet he put on here. She was so pissed off about it. It was like a pot sink industrial cleaner with the spray, and I was like, man, that's a dope ass sink. I want that. I'd like to have that. But I thought about it. It looks like something from a shop. You know, it looks industrial, and that's not always the aesthetic of certain people. And if you're going for a homey kind of a calm art space, maybe the utilitarian doesn't gel. It took me a while to why don't they like this shit? And then it gets into what it's like to be a guy, because we're sensitive guys. and we like some quote unquote girly things and sparkly things and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you like Jeeps and I like construction tools, and like, you know, we still do dude shit, but we're weirdos. We're a walking contradiction, I'd say. ADHD people are very much
We're an
Chris
enigma.
Christopherson songs.
We're
yeah.
we're aliens. we're the other. Fear us. Fear the ADHDers. Well, we actually have a. Do you hate it when people call it a superpower? Because there are days when I feel like it's a superpower. There are days when I actually feel that, where I'm like, I have the capability to think 10 thoughts in a row, not say any of those, but then say the 10th thought, and then the person I'm with say it's Stacy, and she's like, why are you saying stupid shit again? She'll say to me, and I'll be like, oh, so here's why it's not stupid. And then I'll go through the list that led to it, and she'll be like, oh, I understand. Now, and like she'll be on board. She'll be like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, isn't it cool? Now that you see the string that led to it. But I don't got time to tell you the entire paragraph. I just want to blurt out one word and expect you to understand it.
Yeah, I face palmed over that moment. That was one of those CP face palms, because I was just like, that's so common of like just people without ADHD. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, like what are you saying? Like stupid shit or this or that? Like yeah, it's like, where the fuck are you? And like that happens to me all the time, and it's tough like growing up, because then you kind of devaluate like your thoughts. You're like, oh, why am I saying fucked up shit all of a sudden?
Mm-hmm.
But like understanding the way that it cycles around makes a lot of sense. And it's definitely a type of brain. Or like I'll be having the conversation, terrible, I'll have the conversation in my head, and I'll just jump in mid-sentence, and Em's like, what are you saying? I'm like, oh, hold on, let me back up.
Yeah,
I was talking about yesterday at work. I was like, I don't know why I fucking just jumped into the middle of it. Let me
dissect this for the normies. Let me decrypt this. No, I'm kidding. That's a bit of a biting remark. I don't mean to be divisive.
No, we're just a little different.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's fun. It's tough because the normies, quote unquote, were like, get normal, you know, like our whole lives. So that's why we're a little,
because we're told to get normal
against it. Yeah, and it's like, no, we don't. We aren't quite normal.
I don't want to be normal. I tried.
Our neurons aren't firing the way same way.
I tried that. It was boring, and I didn't feel like myself. So part of our superpower is we get to, if you don't mind me bringing it back, I don't know if you had anything else to add on that.
Nah, go ahead.
So part of the deep dive today is going to be talking about how the vacation's in your mind as well. So not just fixing your space so that you don't even want the vacation in the first place, but how about making it so you can take little vacations in your mind? You can use meditation. Meditation is just a tool to get your brain into a certain space. It can be any space. It doesn't necessarily have to be like completely clearing your mind. In fact, that's kind of a misnomer. A lot of people think that meditation means clearing your mind. It's actually listening. You listen to everything your brain is saying, and you consider it all, and you take what works and what doesn't. It's like, it's cleaning. It's like sweeping. It's organizing. It's sorting. But one of the things you can do is put yourself in a place. You can take a vacation in your mind. Like, that's why sometimes you see people close their eyes before they take a deep breath, because they're going somewhere. And it might be 30 seconds to the person they're talking to, but it's like an eternity to the person who needs the space to think through what they're about to say to that person, instead of getting angry, instead of getting reactionary. Like, the mental vacations are incredibly important. That's what I call them. Like, I took a trip. I was like, where were you? I took a trip.
My head is like tornado most of the time, and it's like sometimes I'm not even receptive to meditation. I am not receptive to grounding exercises where, like, I'm tactile, so there's the end of this brush, and I could touch it, almost like fidgeting around with stuff. That kind of stuff helps ground me. Like, this is wood, this is this. I can, break it, break the end of it off. Now it's sharp. You
break it.
As you can see, I'm very much into destruction too. Like, I find beauty in that. And I used to hang on to everything. Like, I had to be like I had to keep it all beautiful and last forever. And then you don't end up run into Kevin McAllister, talking about, I got my skates and I didn't want to use them. Then I couldn't use the skates anymore. So use your shit, ground yourself with it, experience stuff. And that's one thing that helps with me. But when I'm tornadoing, I can barely even do that stuff. So becoming conscious of the body, the breath is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling where the breath goes. Like, we only breathe, we breathe very shallow naturally.
How often,
but when you really suck in, it feels good.
How often do you realize that you're not breathing?
I don't know. I have sleep apnea, dude.
Well, that's during sleep. But what happens to me is it's when I'm driving. Like, there's someone behind me driving erratic. There's someone in front of me driving erratic. My exit's coming up, or I have to. There's an intersection coming up, and I have to turn. This person suddenly pulled out and they took my spot that I was gonna take to get into the intersection, and I realized that I haven't let myself take a breath for like a full minute. Because I'm driving and I'm like focused, and I'm like, oh, and then I take a quick breath, and it's suddenly how fast that quick inhale takes me away from a feeling of irritability of driving and back into like, okay, so that person behind me is just listening to music, they're having a good time. The person in front of me is just taking too long to go, and I'm conscious of that now. And I just got to be patient, and the intersection will open up, and I can get to work. Like those types of things. Like, it's crazy how like I just realized that my brain doesn't, or I'm consciously or subconsciously making my breath irregular because of some tenseness, some tense feelings or something.
I was just doing it now. While I was listening and waiting to You
couldn't breathe until you got to respond?
No, my breath, it was tightening up during that time. It tightens up more and more and more. And you said it when you were driving?
Yeah, that's mostly happens when I'm driving, but it happens when I'm gaming too sometimes.
It's focus. You know what I call that moment? Sniper shots.
Yeah, because
when you're holding the sniper and you go and you don't breathe and you don't move and to take the shot because you have to concentrate and regulate your body at the same time.
A bit of a tangent here, but interesting fact about marksmanship and sniping: it's actually on the exhale that you're most stable. So
really?
it's not holding your breath will actually cause your fingers and arms to shake more. So it's on the exhale that you fire.
I don't know, dude. I think I'm wired backwards then. Because tell you what,
it's on the hold. Well, here's another thing about our
CP's got some marksmen because I don't hunt, I don't do anything, but I did for a minute with my dad, and I didn't like doing it. We ate the animals. It wasn't for sports and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very practical, and it saved deer meat. Saved my dad a lot. Throughout the winters to have food, and it became a staple for a while. But then in time it became less essential. And
this is why we're combating misinformation. I had it backwards. So
there you go.
When you are pointing the front sight at the aiming bowl, exhale and stop breathing. It's after the exhale. That's why I had it wrong. It's not during the exhale. It's after. Deep breath, exhale, then hold.
Yeah, I pull up though. It's weird. I go, and then it's like.
But does that keep your sight there?
My dad had a crossbow. The last time I shot something, my dad had a crossbow, and he's like, yeah, try this thing out. And he's like, oh yeah, shoot like this many yards. I'm like, nah, fuck that, man. I'm gonna go back by the truck, like give it a challenge. And then I took the only shot because it's also he has nice arrows and stuff, and I didn't want to screw things up.
So
But you want to be impressive with the old man, so I was like, boom, dead center. He's like, holy shit, dude. I'm like, yeah, man, years of video games, bro.
Yep.
I always defend video games because he thought they were probably a waste of time. Like, yeah, man, playing Doom, dude.
In practice, it says, how does holding your breath help with shooting? All breath control does is pause the shooter's respiration while executing shots, thus helping to minimize the movement. So pause breathing while pressing the trigger and breathe normally at any other time. So it's not necessarily the pattern. It's just you stop movement.
I would say physiology is a big part of it too, because like look at the size of me, right?
Right.
So when I breathe and move, like I move a lot. So like my hands are probably always moving because of just the scale of me and like just the lung capacity and stuff. And so it might be a little different for me. Like you have to know, like anything, you have to know your own body, and something that I didn't have a concept of growing up. People weren't like, know your body, it wasn't that, you just deal with whatever you're dealing with. If you get hurt, don't be a fucking pussy about it. They'd say stuff like that.
That's what they would say,
like, yeah. And so like,
and then you end up like my friend Alex, who has a scar above his left eye, sorry, his right eye, because he wasn't a pussy about it, and he put his eye too close to the scope in a 30-06.
Ouch.
Yep. He was wearing safety goggles, and good thing he was, because he wouldn't have that eye anymore otherwise. But the safety goggles cut into above his eye.
That pussy should have held that gun tighter. See, that's the old boomer.
See, there you go. You know the language.
Ran through my head.
You know the language. Good catch, though.
Yeah, no, I can catch it. It's bullshit. Like bullshit masculinity. Like, but yeah, because I got hurt a lot, and I would do things. I was a reckless kid. So I'd be like ADHD, I'd be like, I'm gonna run across this deck that's not done, and I'd run across the 2x6 and fall and crush my nuts and be like, oh, and my dad'd be like, fucking, you did it to yourself, get up.
Yeah, that was my dad too. Learn the hard way.
Yeah, and then you like shake off nut pain, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
Dad, I broke my nuts. Hell yeah, you did.
Hey, Bernie Monkey, welcome to the chat. First time.
Welcome. First time in here.
Hangs out in Hexy's chat. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you, Burning Monkey.
So today we're talking about vacations of the physical sort, and when they're not rejuvenating, and then we're digging deep now into
how to fix that.
How to fix that, and how we take a vacation right here
in our minds. We can do it right now.
Right here. Dreamer seems to have an echo when looking to the right. Oh, thanks for that.
Thank you, Burning Monkey.
Burning Monkey's great with tech, so I'll try to stay. Which one's right?
Take that fuzzball off your microphone real quick.
Hello, okay, does that make a difference?
No, not to make a difference. Where do you see something inside there? Inside the mesh, can you see a shape?
Fuck no, dude.
There's no like cylinder, like thin, like a disc in there.
We got tech support coming in, man.
We do. Hold on, let me do a clap so I know what this spot. So the claps, if you guys hear me clap, that's a marker for me for the recording. So this is a live recording of a podcast. We're gonna do editing. So that button on the back of your microphone, CP.
Yeah, but Abso had it right? Okay, I'll change it through. Okay.
So the button on the back, though,
okay,
I think
here's
that
this one. Here's the sound. How's this?
That's pretty good.
Okay, there's this sound. Hey, everybody, is there echo and stuff? Okay. Then there's this sound. Hello. There's this sound. There's this sound. There's
that's the bass. That's the bass I was looking for.
That's the bass you were looking for.
I'll try that. So that just disconnected you. That shut it off. I can't hear you at all now. You have a there's a cord touching another cord somewhere that's causing that.
Okay, is it back?
It's back.
Yeah, it was in Discord.
Okay.
There's a touching another cord.
Yeah, that's what happens. It disconnects and reconnects because there's something triggering it static. It was
Oh.
static. That's why I had to route my microphone around the boom arm and down straight to the computer so the cat static couldn't get through it.
Oh.
I think you fixed the echo though. Thank you for lurking, Burning Monkey. So as I was saying, we're doing a live recording, so there's going to be some tech support happening like live on this Twitch stream. But when I do the editing for YouTube and the audio version, we're not gonna have this in there. So that's why I'm going to be clapping periodically. As CP was saying, we are discussing like the idea of like getting away, like changing your scenery and why people do it. We talked about a theory that I have that CP kind of agreed with, that if you don't sort of clean house, so to speak, in your mind before you leave, then you're just going to bring it with you and you're not going to have a good time on your getaway. And then another way to fix that is to make sure everything's set up at home and everything's clean at home and you have like a nice space to sort of hang out with, and so that when you come back from your vacation, you're not bombarded with like, oh crap, my house is a mess and all this shit's like undone and my desk still hasn't been moved. And CP helped me move my desk recently, and that was that was so much fun too.
Yeah, it was fun hanging out. I got to meet some of your family, your mom and your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful people. I got to see their place. We got to go digging through a garage for cosplay stuff.
Yeah.
Just a side note, we are building suits, mid-century mining suits for our Rise and Mine. We'll be doing videos, maybe running around a con with them. We're figuring it out. Once we have them, we can do so much activities. I feel like Step Brothers,
There's like so much room in here now too. I don't know. I need to get my other camera set up still, but I don't think the Inky cam is here. Nope.
I want to take a second just mentioning that cosplay and directly what you were saying. We're talking about vacations and cleaning up. And I posted a little post the other day about some of my cosplay stuff that I'm working with. I've taken it apart and I bought a couple new components, and I wrote,
check out the Instagram.
Yeah, check out our Instagram. That's Rise in Mind. Lots of stuff. You can follow the cosplay builds. You can follow, you can find some cool clips and see some of our art process. But it says, how can you make things better? It's like you break it apart, dig out the old, clean what is salvageable, replace what is bad, and upgrade. Mm-hmm. And that's my cosplay. That's my helmet here. You can see I've taken it apart. I washed some of the parts I liked. Some of it is just dinge. I'll do some close-up photos of that. It's puke, dude. It's gross. It's nasty. And I'm going to rebuild it out of foam, like cosplay style, and wrap it with my own fabric. That's what you see in the photo, that blue, robin's egg blue. It'll have that in the interior instead of the black, because I don't want to put that on my head. That's some dingy stuff. But once I've pulled it all apart, I realized the world is mine. I can cut a new piece for the visor. I can spray these plastic pieces chrome. I like this part. I'll keep it black and leather. And then I was like, this light is cool, but guess what? The terminals are corroded. It's ruined. And I'm like, yeah, but it still has a cool housing. What if you just buy a light and build it into the reservoir of the flashlight, and then that you just press a button on top and you can turn it on and off. Flashers, it has red, and it was like $8. And I was like, I can retrofit it with new tech and on a dime. So yeah, you can clean so much stuff, but some things like this cosplay, you can just take out the bad, salvage it, but then upgrade other parts and with new tools. And environment is very much a part of that, and being excited about a project
that can change everything too. Like your level of care for a project and caring about it and oops. Oh, hold on.
Like this podcast has been so fun because I like talking. I like being a goof. I like philosophy. I like talking about mental health and the mind because it's something that I've had my battle with, and it's good. It's free therapy for me and for you, I'd imagine, and anyone who wants to sit on the sidelines. It's there's a lot of people. I'm not saying if you want to see professionals, I do pay, but they with medical the way it is, it's not always an option. And even a BetterHelp ad, that's $173 a month, and a lot of people can't swing that as a pretty hefty bill. And then you go on the internet and you start Googling shit, and you're gonna find out you're crazy as fuck, because there's a lot of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a good cathartic way to get things out, to talk about the week, process things that are hard, and then I look forward to it, and it has good intentions. So I'm excited about it versus like, I'm going to start a podcast and get rich. I don't care about that. I mean, it'd be nice, or to at least fund it so we can do more things creatively. But at the end of the day, I remember it's for you and me, dude.
Yeah.
It's for us to have fun, and we want other people to have fun with us. But that's up to you. If you like us and you like this shit, give us a like, give us a follow our socials. I moved it into a commercial. I'm getting good at this, man. A sincere, sentimental commercial. Come on, guys. I'll sell your products. I'll sell you I'll sell you bullshit fucking meal plastic.
Don't worry about the ads.
Plan.
Don't worry about the ads, man.
Well, that's how we're gonna get rich and or die trying. I'm gonna be like, "Hello Fresh. You want tons of plastic to contribute to the gloom?
Oh man, I can't wait to contribute to the gloom.
You want all kinds of junk?
Eventually, we're gonna have
we mail you a fishing cooler every week to throw out.
My goodness, the subscription boxes that I used to get and do and actually like, I enjoyed them for a while, but eventually I started to realize that it was just stuff.
It was just surplus and liquidation and stuff from like conventions that they had too much and promo items. And then you walk around and everybody has the same thing in their house. And you're like, oh, you got that from Loot Crate. Hey, I got that shirt. And it's like, fucking, how original is that?
There goes the exclusivity.
Oh yeah, sorry, Loot Crate. I don't even know if you're around anymore. I mean, Loot Crate, I did it for over a year. We did Loot Crate for a while, and it's fun if you want a birthday present every week, like a surprise.
That's what it feels like, but at the same time, yeah.
And sometimes they really get it right. You're like, oh, sci-fi box, and they've got alien stuff in here. But then other times it's like manga box, and I'm like, not that stuff's not cool. I'm just of a different generation. And, I watch like Vampire Hunter D and weird shit, but then you throw Dragon Ball Z. I don't know. I didn't watch that shit. I don't know what that is. Throw He-Man in there. We're talking. But, so it's real hit or miss with the audience. But I found it was annoying because I just see people with the same shirt, and then they were sending me pop vinyls, and I don't want those. And it's like, and then it's like it was fun that I could gift stuff. That was the other part. Because I'd always get extra stuff, and I'd give it to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Loot Crate, shout out Loot Crate. You cool for a little. Shout out Loot Crate. You cool for a while. I don't even know if you're out there anymore.
We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored by anything. We're sponsored by Rise and Mind Edition Coffee. It's Cumberland Farms. I don't know. It's cheap.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by Cheap. Poor people, if you want to have more, buy cheap. Don't go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Buy cheap.
Don't go to Starbucks and buy a $4 coffee when you can spend $1.39 and get a Combi's coffee. I want to be sponsored by Combi's.
Combi's.
We're gonna get a sponsorship from Combi's.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people working in hard working jobs.
Yeah, I really respect
that,
people that do that kind of. Well, that and like the people that work there. So a little side note about me, I like to befriend people at stores. I like to go into a store regularly And then I go to Cumberland Farms, like, hey, Mike, what's going on? And we shoot the shit and stuff, like, for a second. It's like, speaking of creating a vacation and a good day,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good to just go into a place where you know the person and just say good morning and hello, buy a cheap coffee, and then go on with your day. It's I don't know, it's fun. And just to be able to depend on that, to be able to connect when you need that little bit of connection in the morning. It's there. It's always there.
Always there. That sounds
it's
like
consistent.
Sounds like you're ready for the breath of fresh air.
Oh, you didn't even let me elaborate on that. So we fucked this podcast up. Remember why you said you wanted to talk about this subject? Because in the pregame, I just want to come back around to that and explain that. Yeah. You said, I don't understand why people live in the most beautiful areas.
Oh, yeah.
And then they travel somewhere else. And it doesn't make any sense. And sometimes I go, well, even Natalie, I go, even Natalie Portman gets cheated on.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, I even had a moment of like, wait a minute, but then I understood.
so yeah, I heard that in a podcast last night, and then they were kind of talking about it, and they said, like, why? And I was like, well, it makes sense, because like, inherently people just do that. Some people, it's just a human thing, and nobody's an exception to it. But it's like, why would you, when you have someone so beautiful and successful? And it's like, well, a lot of times it becomes the status. Like, this person could have intentionally married in knowing that this is what I walk around with on camera. Hey dude, I'm married to Natalie Portman. But like, he might not even have been like connected. So then he's like her husband was going out and cheating. And then they always say it's usually like a lesser, like a less attractive person and stuff like that. And it's like, because their point was it doesn't matter, because connection's connection, and there might not have been connection in the beginning. Right. But I started thinking about Hugh Grant, who was married to Elizabeth Hurley, who I thought was beautiful. Still is beautiful woman, from first Austin Powers and Bedazzled.
Oh yeah.
Bedazzled
is where I know her from better.
Yeah.
The devil is abroad in the land.
Dude, I love that movie. I love that movie. That's one Brendan Fraser movie that Abso can actually tolerate.
She doesn't like Brendan Fraser?
She thinks he's like some kind of like alien dough man who's. She has, I think everybody just doesn't like an actor for whatever reason. Like, I always was like, fuck Gene Hackman, man, that guy's an asshole, but he's a great actor, and I have no reason to feel that way. Yeah, because he probably just reminds me of some boomer uncle I had or something, or he said something like, you have sometimes human beings are just completely irrational. Kind of like the vacation thing, and kind of like, why would someone leave Elizabeth Hurley? Why would Hugh Grant sleep with a prostitute? Like, that was what it was. And it was like,
it wasn't just cheating on her like with some dude or some friend or some party. That's like, it's so intentional. There's so much intention if you pay for a prostitute.
And I think it was like, her name was like Divine Brown or something. And I think she was a black woman. And like, it's like, well, I've heard English dudes like the black ladies, so Elizabeth Hurley, despite how beautiful she is, Hugh Grant had an itch, and he needed to scratch it. So that was what happened. And then he was like, because he got arrested. Yeah, he had a mugshot. They arrested him. Mm-hmm. So he was like, it was worse than cheating. It was like, hey, you got arrested and you were sleeping with a prostitute. And this has happened a lot. And in these communities where actors get together, but I think it's a status thing. Like, I don't think Will and Jada are happy. I just think it's like a status thing that they're both famous people. And yeah, I mean, I think Will's happy. I think she's not. And that's always the what hurts me about that situation. But not to go on a tangent about celebrity stuff, but it's always weird when it happens and people are like, oh, how could it happen to them? They're so famous and beautiful. Mm-hmm. It can happen to anybody. People are people at the end of the day. And it seems irrational. Like, why? But people have needs, and people connect in different ways. And obviously, like, Portman's husband maybe had an emotional connection to this person that they didn't have. I don't know the details. Maybe they just were really obsessed
So
with sex and like, maybe they just, you know.
I think I understand what you're getting at with this. Is like, are you saying that people will use other people as a way to take a vacation from their life? Like, I'm used to this person all the time, and I'm just gonna go take a vacation with this other person to get away from my life. Like, that's another like example of why you got to clean up your own life. Like, get that shit, working better. Because you don't want to cheat on your significant other because you're bored. Because you're in a different, like, you're not bored with them, you're bored with you, and you just want a distraction from you.
But it also does something much like the vacation will do, and what people need is difference, change. They need to crush on someone again. I've been married like forever, and like, I don't get certain things that someone starting a new relationship has. Like, we have a different type of relationship that is longer, and it exists in a different type of reality. But like the meeting someone and getting to know them and tension and the crush, I mean, that's long gone. So like, that's why a lot of people cheat, is because they don't have that anymore, and they can get a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
You know about that. So it's like drinking or eating bad food that, even when you're not supposed to, you get a little rush from it. And taking a trip to Dubai, like, especially if we're not wealthy people who travel all around. There are people that.
Sorry, where would you go if you could go anywhere?
To that fucking museum, dude, with you in Vegas, man, and laugh. That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome.
We got to crowdfund that, man. We got to make that with content. We'll pay it all off we'll get claiming our taxes and shit. Yeah, dude.
So fake fake store in Vegas.
I can send you some videos, but like, I watched a little too much of it, and I didn't want to.
Well, we're gonna bring it up on the sharing screen here.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be a good breath of fresh air. But yeah, you have to know where you want to go, and some people just say, I don't know. Some people just do it because other people. That's Spacey's bird.
That's Spacey. That's a different bird. That's
I associate Spacey with birds so much. She takes great bird pictures.
That's the pop-up shop at Fig Tree North. That's the wrong window. Hold on, I'm fixing it.
Oops. Be careful with these windows, because
why?
You don't want to stumble in the wrong one after last night. No, I thought you started playing like something on a browser. I didn't know it was actually in the. I didn't hear it through the wall when I was taking a dump.
I mean, these are in a browser, but it's not what you think.
Fake groceries. Yeah, that's probably it, right? Right here on the top.
I think so.
Omega Mart. Yeah, explore immersive art. It's an art installation technically. So any of those, Omega Mart.
We've actually had this on Rise of Mind once before, but I don't mind revisiting it a little bit. Like their about section here.
It's so weird, man.
It is super, super weird, but I love it.
Simply Spiders.
Simply Spiders, yep.
So like, it's fun because it's like this facade of this weird market, but it's like created by aliens, and when you get back, it's like the spaceship, and then there's like a whole fucking town, dude, that they build and stuff to assimilate human culture, and it's a massive like, look at that shit. I think you go through the freezer door, dude. You open a freezer door and you go through that and see all the sodas, and it's all twisty, and that's how you get in the space. They don't tell you this stuff. Like, you just explore, and then you keep finding more and more. But I watched a little bit of a video of it, so I know some tricks, but
I think going to this could be a whole thing too. We could definitely make it into part of our podcast even.
Oh yeah, dude.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to see. That's the kind of stuff I like to do, things that are bonding and fun, and
they apparently have other. So if you wanted to go somewhere like other than Vegas, because I know how Vegas can be, Looks like
Santa
they have.
Fe,
It looks like
Denver.
they have other areas,
Oh, that's cool.
but they have different names for them. They're art installations still, but they're not the one. Omega Mart is the only one that's like a commercialized like store.
Oh, you could go and
So
they
these
give
are
you different ones,
yeah.
so they're
See,
different experience.
like I wouldn't mind going to Denver. Like Denver's cool. There's probably lots of cool stuff to do in Denver. And look at this thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Come on, man. You don't want to go to Vegas for the first time, dude?
I would
We-
I
we
would like
could-
to go to Vegas, but
we could really rip apart the culture in that place.
we
Look
could.
at this shit, dude. Do a freaking expose on Vegas. But I heard Vegas
I
has
wouldn't
wonderful
go-
shows and art. I didn't know they had so much.
Yeah.
I always just picture like Siegfried and Roy and like the
Oh, look at
the
this.
rock sets or whatever. I think they're from New York. The Real Unreal. I know.
Oh, is it
That's-
a dream?
Yeah, it's the Dreamers Arcade, dude.
The Real Unreal is now open in Grapevine, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas apparently. That's pretty cool. So this is like the breath of fresh air is like where would we want to go if we could go anywhere? That's a great idea.
Where would you go?
I mean, this is getting pretty high up there. Because well, where would I go? If I could go anywhere?
Mhm.
It's so hard not to go to like fantasy.
Oh yeah, get it. Like have it in like the real world. Like let's like because that's too easy. Like I always want to like
In the real
escape
world,
into
I
a video
think,
game or something.
Rome?
Yeah,
is,
alright.
is really high up there for me. And then there's a very specific place in it's either in Denmark or Sweden where there's a certain mountain range, but the way the mountains formed, there's like plains on plateaus surrounding the mountain, and you get these like crazy views that
Nice.
I have to find an image and put it in the Instagram, I think, because there's a video that I've saved into my Instagram on the Space Viking 42 Instagram that I need to look it up again. There's this woman walking her dog in this like field, and then the dog starts running into the distance, and she like pans the camera up, and the mountain just goes forever, and the sky looks like it just goes on forever, and I'm like, I want to go there. I want to
that's
go to
cool.
there. That's where I
Oh, where
would
was-
go.
Sorry, where is that? I missed where you said it was.
It's
at the
either
beginning.
Denmark or Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
believe
that
it's
would be a
Switzerland.
beautiful place to go.
And like when it comes to travel destinations, like there's one of the least anxiety forming destinations is like Denmark, Switzerland, Europe in general. Like a lot of European places that you don't really have to worry about like if you get stranded in a country in Europe, it's not so bad. But if you get stranded in Texas, it's really bad.
I like the idea of Rome. I could just see you running across the aqueduct dressed like Altair or whatever, Ezio Auditore, and jumping into a hay.
Me?
Style.
No.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, we could run along the aqueducts. We could go see the Elon Musk Zuckerberg fight at the Coliseum.
Zucca?
That's where they wanted to have the fight up in the Coliseum, which is what is the Coliseum? It's an arcade, dude. It's an arcade. The Arches. I didn't realize that. It's technically classified an arcade, and it's a place of entertainment. It's a theater.
That's true.
Whoa. In
arcade.
historical sense, arcades are usually arches. That
Right.
signify create a loggia, which is usually a path that you can get in out of the rain.
Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia, he invented the indoor marketing. I'm Robert Loggia. Put a fucking sign above it. You work for me, don't you? That's all I can remember is him and Big.
Yeah.
I love Tom Hanks, man, in that. Oh, let's
So,
not even get into Tom Hanks.
No. So another part of this breath of fresh air, I want to ask you another question.
Sure.
Where is everyone? This is something that's like in popular culture a lot. Your happy place. like, in your mind, like, go to your happy place, that whole, like, that trope. Where is it? Where is it in your?
Snuggling up on that couch with you, buddy, right behind you.
Oh,
You got look at that mirror, right? No, nah.
got mirror.
So it's weird. New Hampshire. New Hampshire is my happy place.
Really?
Yeah.
I have another friend who lives in Mass that really wants to live in Massachusetts, and she wants to live in New Hampshire. She's lived in Massachusetts her whole life, and her car is like really messed up. And I keep saying, like, yeah, come visit, like, I'll show you around Littleton, like, it's awesome, and she's like, no, my car is messed up, I can barely make it to work. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, that's why I hate, like, New England is big, but it doesn't feel it. Sometimes it doesn't feel it, but like if your car is a little bit messed up, even driving like 45 minutes feels kind of out of the question.
Yeah, and you don't want to get stuck on the interstate and have something happen, and then thankfully we have cell phones now, so you're okay, but like, yeah, it's desolate. It's the void out here, man. You don't want to get stranded.
The cost in our lives used to be time, and now it's money, because everything's like accessible now. But it's more money than time. It used to be you got stranded on the highway. Well, better grab your good shoes and just get to walking, And then what it would cost you is time. It'd take you like several hours to get to the nearest like station that had a phone. And then you'd call someone and be like, oh yeah, it's back on this right near this exit, and I need you to come out and meet me there, or come pick me up at this gas station, and then we'll drive back to it. And now you have to have like a subscription to AAA, and they'll get there pretty quick, usually within an hour, but it'll cost you like $300 or something. So it's interesting that like you don't want to get stranded, but also it's more accessible now. But you better be not poor.
Well, my car has like, I think it has like OnStar features and shit. Like it knows when you've crashed and stuff. And it like just be like, oh, that dude's crashed and he's passed out, and like
better call him.
Yeah, like it's wild. Like they'll call, are you okay? And it's like the computer. I don't even think I pay for it. Like it just is like a thing that happens. Like,
sometimes it's included with your vehicle when you buy it.
Yeah.
So your happy place is New Hampshire, really. Like when you want to escape somewhere in your mind, and you have to calm yourself down, you imagine being like surrounded by the mountains in New Hampshire, or do you picture more downstate New Hampshire? Like the lakes region, like that artist retreat we went on, for instance.
Yeah, I picture like, I think the Laconia area. I think fun spots near there and stuff. And when I was a kid, we didn't travel much at all, and so when we did, the two furthest places we went, it's funny already, isn't it? Were Saint Agathe, Maine, which is like literally takes 5.5 hours to drive if you're my father. Up, it's like right at the top of Maine. My uncle lived there, and that was fun. It was like in the potato fields, and it felt like a different world. Their house was like an old gas station, dude. It had the awning. It was wild. Like it had been converted into a house, and it was just like going into a different world or video game or Dungeons and Dragons or something. It just didn't feel like the woods. We didn't go many places, so it was like going anywhere was huge. But then I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Laconia, and so every year we'd go, and these places were places that were different because when we traveled there, they were so far, we'd stay the night.
Oh yeah, so I have to do that pretty often as well.
Yeah, so we'd stay the night and then go back the next day, and it felt so unreal. And we never stayed in hotels until I my first hotel I stayed in, I was like 23 years old. And that was, it was Abso and I stayed in a hotel.
Wow.
And we went on a trip. That was like my first trip out. Like we started taking trips with her, because with my father's anxiety and whatnot, in the not having tech for GPS and stuff, and not liking to drive on highways, shit. yeah, we just didn't do this. He'd have a panic attack going to Portland later in life. You know, it's like, I don't know where the fuck I am. And I'm like, it's right there, dude.
Yep.
Like we're just trying to go to Toys R Us, brother. You know, that's me. I used to collect
I'm picturing a little CP talking like that.
The sad thing is, I was 21. I was 21 years old.
Oh, so you weren't little, yeah.
Yeah, it was like my birthday weekend, and we went down to Portland for something. I was hanging out with my friend Dan at the time, and yeah, I collected a lot of toys then. So we didn't have a Toys R Us in Central Maine, so that was the first time I really got to go to Toys R Us too, like about that age. So I was like 21 when I first went to Toys R Us. Like I really stunted, dude. I went to college at 29 and graduated.
Yeah.
I've always been a little bit behind, and a lot of it's just how I grew up in my family. So when I went to New Hampshire, it was very special because I got to go down there, stay the night. It was beautiful. It was like Maine, but it was a little bit different. And we had there was weird shit. I'm like, whoa, look at that Pirates Cove. Look at that bumper boats. That's cool. Oh, Weir's Pier. There are arcades everywhere. Oh, Fun Spot. And I never got to go into Fun Spot until I was an adult. And then I realized this is the arcade mecca. So these places become really sentimental because they've held up on like some of the culture that is lost too, like arcades before barcades became kind of normalized. It was the only place to go. And then you'd see like Castle in the Clouds. You guys don't have as much coast. I think you have like 13 miles of coast. So it's all about the inland promotions. You have bulletin boards. It's illegal to have bulletin boards in Maine. I'm like, whoa, that shit. Yeah, we can't have bulletin boards, dude. It's against our ordinance or whatever. You won't see really bulletin boards like you see in New Hampshire and in like Massachusetts and stuff. Check it out next time you're driving through.
New Hampshire does have like Vermont also has that too, where
yeah, with the weird liberal uncle smoking weed.
with the weird liberal uncle. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of uncles, that was the thing. I went and visited my aunt and uncle, and my mom's sister. She didn't live very long. She battled cancer a lot, and she hung on into her 50s. But she had remarried this man. His name was Dick, and my uncle Dick.
His name was your Uncle Dick.
My Uncle Dick. But Dick was come to find out manic depressive. He had emotional kind of issues. But because of that, much like my friends that I talked about earlier, this dude supported me in my writing and my art in a way that nobody did.
Oh.
And it was so encouraging, and he'd geek out and he'd be like, yeah, I'm writing this story. And he was just like us now. He's like, I got this story. And then he'd be like, hey dude, look at this thing I'm building. It's the Lake Winnipesaukee whale watch, and it's a plane. And I have some things I'll show you sometime, these wooden cars that he made for my grandfather that I inherited. And he was very crafty. He had trains that would go into the wall, like he cut black felt, and it looked like there was a tunnel going into it, made out of wood. And I adapted some of that stuff like later on. And so he was such an encouraging guy. He really made me feel, for one of the first times, that it was okay to be this version, this CP. And that's why Rise in Mind is so important to me, because Dick's not here anymore.
Oh.
I lost contact with him.
Dick's gone.
I think he spiraled, and I think he died very bad. I think he was messing up a lot in life after.
Died a not okay death.
Yeah, he was just, I don't know, man. I heard lots of stuff and it wasn't great. And he didn't live super long either. Like my lived much longer after her. And he loved her, man. Like I never saw someone pour out so much affection towards someone, where he had this beautiful frame picture of her with this poem that he had written, and to see like the manifestation of someone's mind, to see them be so vulnerable. He was such an inspiration. I owe that guy everything. So Now that he's not here, I said, "You're dick now."
You're her dick now.
You're a dick now. So,
Oh my goodness.
so anyone, you know, anyone will always be encouraged by me. Well, if you're like, I'm gonna go out and shoot the neighbor, I'm like, hold on, dude, don't, nope.
Maybe don't.
Let's
Maybe
think about that. They're
Don't do that.
assholes. I know they're assholes, but come on. So
Have you tried not?
But if you want to write your book, if you want to make art, if you want to be just generally weird, if you want to be a little annoying, if you want to interrupt me in conversation, it's all allowed. Because I know you're coming from a good place. Hexie the other day, she's like, I've got a bad habit. I tend to finish people's sentences. I go, that's ADHD shit. You know, it's just, and she's not diagnosed with it. Yeah, she's not diagnosed with that, but like, that's a behavior.
That's like, get on with it.
Well, I tell her, I go, no, you can do that to me because I find it connecting. Yeah, I find it connecting that you're thinking enough to know what I'm saying. I'm meandering about the point, and as far as an efficient and quick conversation, yeah, let's fucking roll through this thing. Yeah, finish this. When the Baron and I get together, it's like we finish each other. Yeah, whatever. You get this part, and we're just like all over the place. But man, we go through some shit fast. He's efficient.
Yeah,
with conversation.
I'm gonna answer my question now. If that's okay.
That went fucking super deep, but yeah. So New Hampshire,
that did go deep. So like, how does the last thing you said connect to coming to New Hampshire? Just so that we bring it around.
Well, you might have missed the part. They were from Laconia, New Hampshire.
Oh, they were okay. Yeah, sorry.
So that was where I visited New Hampshire, and New Hampshire felt like it had the castle in the clouds. It has dragons. It has a Fun Spot has the dragon on the sign. As a kid, I was like, wow, big bulletin boards, big images. It's like very expressive. And then I had these people who were really encouraging me to be creative and artistic. And I go, this is a nice place with nice people. And you know what? Every time I've gone to New Hampshire, it's beautiful, and I meet nice people. The White Mountains, hiking the White Mountains was one of the most beautiful experiences I ever had. So I never forget it. And that's where it's the highest elevation in New England. So if the world flooded, that's where the Dreamers Arcade would be. And then, fuck, dude, I met Lumbergs, and they're right in the same area. And I'm like,
they're in central New Hampshire.
Dude, you know the place they live in? It's just like my aunt and uncle's place.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like, it's flipped. It's a reverse version of it. And I was like, whoa, this is just like my aunt and uncle's place. And it just feels so cool. And now it's like, I met you. And I'm meeting all these cool people. We do the retreats on Lake Winnipesaukee now, and I'm like, this place is fucking heaven. So
that's the place you've been.
It's always good and feels great, and it's like it's relaxing, and it's got good people, and I feel like I feel like it rejuvenates a creative energy. Yeah. And my brother-in-law goes down to haunted houses, and he's taken me down there, and so I've had good memories with him and his friends, like on these outages, and it's just been nothing but good times.
Mine is
Maine.
No. Well, here's the thing, like, you answered the question in a very interesting way, because I was more going along the lines of like meditatively, like, where do you go to calm yourself down in your head? Would New Hampshire still be the answer? Because like for me, it's such like a big, like, ambiguous. It's like a feeling. It's like I calm my nerves down to the point where I can control them, and I try to simulate the feeling of being on a raft in the middle of a lake, and I try to simulate that, like, undulation of the waves, like, going over my body until that's all I can focus on. And then I become dirty. And then well, if you're taking it that way, enjoy. But what I
undulation, the up and down undulation,
the undulation,
the fluids all over my body drift slowly into ecstasy.
Fluids all over my body.
Now it's funny you mention that, because my buddy, my buddy 32, that would be a nightmare scenario. He doesn't ever want to be in water.
He hates the water. See, water's that's my happy place. It's like I can just, if I'm having trouble sleeping, that's what I do, is I I do my deep breathing, and then I try to imagine how that feels, and before I know it, it's morning. Like I've fallen asleep and I wake up.
Yeah, I
Fun
like
fact for those of
water
you.
as well.
Fun fact for those of you who are new to the show. I think I mentioned this once before. Is that my brain doesn't let me experience my dreams when I'm asleep, so it feels like I blink and then wake up.
Damn, dude.
And
I gotta help you with that somehow.
People tell me I do sleep. People tell me I do dream because I'll talk in my sleep once in a while, or I'll make noise and I'll toss and turn. But to me, from my perspective, it's like I blink and then it's morning, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, existence again. Okay, let's go.
Which is absolutely fascinating to me because like I've experienced every dream phenomena that is listed, from lucid dreams as a child to night terrors to sleep paralysis, and I've developed sleeping disorders because of that. Not so much insomnia, but like different like sleep apnea, and like like my brain waking up before my body does, and still dreaming in reality. That's some pretty fucked up shit, man. So some of it's fun, some of it's cool, but the idea of just then waking up and being like, oh, I'm back, and it's like, what? No middle. I mean, I could tell you about a dream after this. It's just like so fucking bizarre. It was such a stress dream, and then it just got so weird, but it all makes sense, but yeah,
Yes.
I use them as like, the trouble is, I'm glad you don't do that, because like, how you get confused in reality, right, with so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you could add the component of you just had an experience in a dream, and that's how you start in your day, and you're analyzing right out the gate, like, what did that mean? What did that mean? And then it becomes so real that it starts to become you in your life.
I just
like
thought
those
of
experiences. What?
Of why some of my stress is so high sometimes is because my brain doesn't let me have that vacation. The dream vacation, the getting away in that way. I feel like we need it.
Not even when you blaze it up, dude. You don't get a little vacation, like a little shutdown, like.
Allow me to rephrase this a little bit, because like there's been my brain like will let me, my mind will let me experience a dream if it feels that it's important for me to get the message. Because I'll have these like really big, like Lord of the Rings level of dreams, like once every 6 months, or like, and it'll be something really big and profound. And there's a story, like there's even the short, there's like a one-off comic I want to do of this experience I had with this wolf, this dream that kept reoccurring for like the span of like 3 weeks or so. This wolf was trying to get me to go through this like dimensional portal. And
wolves,
and in this dream I had a sword, and it was just on my back in a sheath. I never actually used it in the dream.
Fuck that wolf up, dude.
No, it turned out that so I'm gonna get into a little bit of woo shit. Those of you who are listening, I completely it's okay if you don't believe in what I'm about to talk about, but I believe in it, and it helps me sort of quantify my world.
Yeah, we all believe different shit. It's fine.
I got into this this group where we were sort of practicing this new methodology of green zone to red zone, and like if you're in the red zone, how do you get back to the green zone, like emotionally? And this ideology was like very useful. This methodology was incredibly useful for my life. And during one of the meditative sessions that I was doing with this group, they touched on like there's a being, and that being is there to help you and protect you. That being is trying to send you a message. And this like little switch got flipped in my brain, and the wolf showed up. And it was like, hey, it was the same wolf, the black wolf with the gold eyes, slightly glowing eyes.
Jesus.
And it just said, it asked why I wasn't following it, and I said because the other side looked really. I was scared, and it said you don't need to fear me or the destination. You just have to
I would
follow.
have been like, why aren't you following me? Because you're a fucking wolf. Get out of here and start kicking it in the
You're a wolf.
ass.
So the wolf symbology is I've resisted it my whole life. You know why? Because it's such a masculine thing. There's so many like bad examples of the masculine sort of persona. They wear the wolf t-shirts and they have the wolf tattoos, and even in Norse mythology the wolf is seen as the one who bites the hand of the god of war in Norse mythology, Fenris or Fenrir.
I thought they came with Ragnarok to devour the moon.
That's two other wolves. Those are different wolves than
Yeah,
Fenrir.
those are the wolves that hang out in my dreams.
Yeah, so the wolf in my dream, I didn't trust it because it sort of represented sort of a masculine edge to my life that I've been resisting my whole life, because I've been told by society that because I am a man that I am dangerous. And if I'm dangerous, then I need to be feared. And if there's something about me that needs to be feared, then I don't want to be feared. So I'm gonna try to not be that. And there were examples where there were times when that helped. So this we can talk more about this in an episode where we can talk about dreams for the whole episode. I would love to do that. But basically
that'd be a big one.
This dream was incredibly important for me, and it did take me to a place where I was allowed to sort of reassess sort of what my life was and where I was going with it. And a really creepy thing happened during this time period too, where a woman I was seeing at the time like was into some really weird stuff, and like during a passionate moment with her, she whispered in my ear and said, I am the wolf. And I was like, nope, I'm going, I'm leaving, bye. And she didn't know. She didn't know what was going on in my head.
There's a female connection with the wolf too, though. I can't think of what it is. Like in like South American culture, right? Like Spanish, like I think there's something. Shakira sings about the wolf, and like there's something in the culture.
It's not inherently masculine. There's just a lot of negative masculine connotations in our society where they say I'm the alpha and all this shit, and that's completely wrong.
And that's the wolf.
That's what they say, but.
So
I'm going to just sort of wrap up that story just for the sake of this episode. I want to say that this meditation where the wolf came to me, I realized that it's a guardian, and it's just trying to help guide me to my safe place, which turned out to be a forest clearing by a lake with, a starry sky. And that's where I go now whenever I feel like I need to be calm, and like that's my happy place now. And the wolf is there whenever I'm there, but it's no longer a fear thing. It's more of it's a symbol of what's actually strong within me.
Oh, that's cool, man. And I only shit talk the wolf because when I was a kid, it's media that ruined the wolf. Benji the Hunted. Benji was getting chased by this wolf, and it was like, oh, that thing is scary. Benji. Yeah, and then the never-ending story. You've sent me clips from this. The Nothing.
Yeah, the Nothing.
Dude, and he succumbs to the gloom or whatever, basically.
Yeah, they actually said the darkness or the nothing. It's all that.
Yeah, it's that internal darkness, like that sucks the life out of you.
And but what the Nothing is talking about is actually liberating. It's sort of taking the role of Lucifer, of like, I'm trying to free you by showing you this truth.
Or Trent. Like, in a sense, like that kind of idea that it's just like all over and this whole structure.
breath of fresh air.
We're just
trying to free you. We're trying to free you using truth.
But those two movies made me scared of wolves. So as a child, I had reoccurring dreams. That was my adversary. Yeah. The wolf was always chasing me, or creepy shit, like he'd lean up against the house and he'd look like up, and I'd look down the window and I'd see this wolf looking at me, and I'd be like, oh, and it was just terrifying. But eventually the wolf turned into people. So, the wolf's fair use now, and he's less scary, but he still hinges. And as far as when you relate the wolf to my dreams, he was always a shit heel. So, sorry, Wolf, you're not a very good guide. Maybe come on, Wolf. Maybe we'll try it again. We'll have a breath of fresh air with you, and you can come in. I forgive you, Wolf. Come into my dreams. Take me to the starry place, which isn't always New Hampshire. Sometimes it's me flying a kite in the field of my grandfather's home as a child, or being at Reed State Park on this particularly cloudy, puffy day, and you just go these places and you go, it's chill, man, and there's not a lot of external stuff, and it's like in your dream, it's just think big, think of the sky, open your mind, breathe in fresh air. When we're trapped in the mines, it's real easy to get hung up on the internal struggle and the reality. I can't get much further than this, and you get to the top. It's a bigger world out there, and it's not always about
This is making me
this
think
crazy shit in my head.
some more lore too of like the scene of where our two characters like would come out of the mines, and it'd be like this serene, like you'd hear birds and you'd hear creatures, because I still have it in my mind that the lore is like it's another planet. It's not Earth, but it's still serene when we come out from the mine.
I've gone full on Earth gloom, where it's like the world's destroyed up top, and the rich live up on the top, in the fresh air, and then we mine because the oxygen is so screwed up. We have to get like different types of chemicals, and we process them to make like the atmosphere breathable and shit again.
Or we've lived in the mines so long that
we don't even know that it's up there. It's like folklore. Because it's like the working man or the broken man. It's like, there's no world for me. This is the only world. This is Plato's cave. There is no fresh air. And it's like, well, where do you think all these resources are going? Well, they go for us. Not all of them, dude. And it's like, and then you realize you're at the bottom of the fucking trench, and you're like, oh, there's another substructure and another substructure above me.